Everyone says to travel in your 20s, to go see the world and have as many different experiences as possible. But in reality, how are you supposed to do that on the budget of a typical person in their 20s? Well, I'm here to share a trip that I have taken that you can have amazing experiences, but also it's relatively affordable. So this past summer, I had the amazing experience of being able to hike the Camino de Santiago in Spain. So the Camino is a pilgrimage with Catholic origins that has existed for over 1,000 years. So here I have what I bought from a vendor on the side of the trail. This is a shell, and a shell represents the Camino. So the tip of the shell represents where all of the different paths of the pilgrimage meet, which is a city called Santiago in Spain. And so all the different lines on the shell represent all the different paths. So there's a lot of different trails you can go on. They go through Portugal, most of them go through Spain, but some of them also go through France. So we went through a trail that we hiked along the coast of northern Spain, and it was just stunning. We saw cliffs going into the ocean, and it was just amazing. So why does this matter to you? Well, maybe you're like me, and sometimes your life gets too boring, and you want to go on an adventure, go on a trip, but you don't have just endless money to be able to do that. So hiking the Camino is a great experience for you to see more of the world on a relatively affordable budget. So hiking the Camino is a very formative experience as it opens your eyes to the world and to your own capabilities. So this leads into my 3 main points of why hiking the Camino is beneficial, which is 1, it expands your worldview, 2, it challenges you physically, and 3, it increases your mental resilience. So my first point, why hiking the Camino is beneficial, is because it expands your worldview. So this is why people tell you to hike. They say tell you to travel. They tell you to travel so that you can see more of the world, be immersed in more cultures, and just become overall a more well-rounded person. So not only was I able to be immersed in the culture of Spain, but the Camino is a world-famous pilgrimage. So people from all over the world go and hike the Camino. So I was able to meet people from Italy, from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Peru and Argentina, just from everywhere. So not only did I get Spanish culture, but also I got a taste of the culture from all these different countries. So then, like I've said before, it also is you're able to do it on a cheap budget. So a lot of the little towns we pass through, their tourists are the pilgrims. So they have tons of places you can stay, places you can eat that are super affordable for the pilgrims passing through. So I think our cheapest hostel we stayed in was actually €8 a night, so super affordable. So my second point is that hiking the Camino is beneficial because it's a physical challenge. So every day we hiked on average about 15 miles with the backpack on. So it was pretty hard. After about 10 miles, everything starts to hurt. But it helps me realize that I can actually, my body's capable of a lot more than I thought it was. So the hardest physical day we had was we were told we were going to hike 19 miles, and we were all mentally prepared to hike 19 miles and ready for it. And at about mile 14, we're all starting to hurt. Our leader pulls us aside and says, hey, we're going to take this little detour, and it'll just add a little extra mileage. And we were all thinking oh, that's fine, thinking it's probably 2 miles, 1 to 2 miles. Turns out it was a 6-mile detour. So we ended up hiking a total of 25 miles that day. And by mile 20, we were all so done. Somebody on our trip was actually sick. So he was hiking, trying not to throw up. It was so hard, but we all made it through. So this leads into my last point, which is that hiking the Camino increases your mental resilience. So there was a lot of physical pain that you have to endure through when you're hiking that much every single day, but you have no other option but to keep going. You can't be left behind. So really it helps just build that mental grit. One day that really built me mentally, toughness, was the night before. I had barely slept at all because there were some old men in our hostel just snoring like a freight train. And that day it was pouring rain and it was about 50 degrees. So I did not bring adequate rain clothes. So I was soaking wet, freezing cold, but I actually had a really good mentality that day because I kept telling myself, hey, this could be worse and it's gonna end. And I found that I have brought that into my life now because I realized like this whatever uncomfortable I'm feeling, it's gonna end and it could be worse. So in summary, hiking the Camino de Santiago is beneficial because it increases your worldview, challenges you physically, and increases resilience. So although I've highlighted a lot of the really hard parts of the Camino, it really was such an amazing trip, and it adds you to a rich culture of people who've been hiking this for the past millennia. So thank you.